Hello crafty friends, it's Tanya here from Ink Responsibly, and I'd like to share with you a new tutorial. Now this is a bench fold card, and this time I've done one as a kitchen. So I'll bring it up closer for you. So we've got some beautiful little tools here. Little cupcakes cooking in the oven, some mittens, and a little window and hot plates. And I've embossed the base of this card using the ruffled dynamic embossing folder. So let's get started. For today's project, you're going to need a sheet of Whisper White cardstock. Now this one measures 11 3/4 of an inch by 4 1/4 inches. You're also going to need a strip of Sahara sand cardstock. Now that is 8 inches by 2 inches. Then you will need another piece of Sahara sand, and this measures 3 7/8 by 3 7/8. You will also need some scrap Sahara sand, as well as some scrap soft suede. We'll also be using little bits of the foil sheets. So I've got copper here, and this is the silver foil. So let's get started. So for today's card, I'm going to emboss my base card using the brick wall embossing folder. And once you have embossed it, we're going to score it at 2 inches, then flip your card and measure it at score it at 3 7/8. Then turn to your other end, score it at 2 inches, flip it, and score it at 3 7/8. And then you're going to fold it so that the sides come in like so. So there is our base card, and there is the front of our base card. So I'll sit that over to the side. Now with our piece of Sahara sand that measures 3 7/8 by 3 7/8, we're just going to pop it into the trimmer or using your scoring board, and just score it at 2 inches and like so. So we only have the one score line, and we're just going to burnish that fold. So make it nice and crisp, okay? Now with our scrap of Sahara sand, we need a piece, because this middle section measures 3 7/8 of an inch. We're going to add 1/2 inch either side, so we're going to cut it at 4 7/8 by 3/4 of an inch. And then I'm going to pop a little score line in at 1/2 inch each end. Now this is going to be our support structure for our bridge fold card. So to put together, we're going to take the 2 inch by 8 inch piece, and I'm going to run adhesive all the way along. So top and bottom. Okay. So tuck the rest of your card out of the way and pop it down on one end. Then we're going to take our piece that we folded in at 2 inches, and we're going to continue our 2-inch piece along here, and then we're going to stick it down to this piece here. Now, if you have any excess at all, you can either trim it with a pair of scissors or use your trimmer. Okay, so now we have the piece that comes along here and our bench, but we need to pop something in so that this doesn't fall through. So that's where this piece here comes in handy. Now I'm going to use Tombow for this because I like to have a little bit of wriggle time. And I'm just going to fold this back here and glue in one side. And this is just like on a box card, you're going to place a support like this. But it makes it easy with the brickwork because you can see where it needs to line up. And the next one. And then you're just going to fold that over. And make sure that your card folds flat. And you can fold it back the other way. So now when we push that down, it stops, okay? Now, to get started, we're going to do the oven first. And to create my oven, I've used this die here from the Hearth and Home Thinlits. And I've also used that to create this window here in the kitchen. So for the kitchen window, I'm going to cut that out of soft suede cardstock, like so. And for the oven, I'm going to cut it out with the silver foil. So to put our oven together, just pop your die out. And what you've got is a silver window. Now to pop our oven together, I'm just going to pop some strong double-sided tape on the back, like so. And we're going to snip off this part and here, and take out this middle section, like so. Now my window sheet, or the acetate, measures 1 3/8 of an inch by 2.5 inches, and I'm just going to pop that on to the double-sided tape. Now we're going to create the inside of our oven. The inside of the oven, I've got a scrap of some grey cardstock. Now I'm just going to stick down my little cupcakes. I've heat embossed with white on my cupcakes. And one there. And there's that. And we'll pop some more tape on. And close up our oven. Now we can pop our oven onto the front of our card. I'm just going to pop a little bit of Tombow in here to seal the base of the oven closed. All right. Now to make the front of our oven stick out, I'm just trimming off the other half of the die cut that we made, and I'm going to pop a bit of dimensional adhesive in here. And just pop that in place over the base one. Lovely. So now we can pop our stove top in here. Now to create our stove top, I have a piece of black cardstock that measures 3 5/8 by 1 5/8. And I have punched using the basic grey cardstock. I have 2 circles that measure 1 3/8. Now using the silver foil, I have cut 2 circles that measure 1 1/4 inches. And finally 2 more that measure 1 inch. So I am going to pop these together using glue. Then to build our stove, just pop a dimensional onto the back of your hot plates. And I've just centered on 3 sides, and then for the second hot plate, roughly 1/4 inch gap. Now for our controls, I have punched out a 1/4 inch circle and then a 1/8 inch circle using the handheld punch. And I've popped a little mini dimensional onto the back. And these just sit off to the right, and I've got 2 controls. There's our hot plate unit, so I'm going to pop that on with glue, and I'm just centering that with about 1/8 inch margin around that black rectangle. Now to create our cupboard doors on here, I'm going to take a piece of Sahara sand cardstock, just a scrap, and run it through using this Pinewood Planks embossing folder. Another thing you could do would be to stamp it with a wood grain stamp, or just leave it plain. Now once you have embossed them, just cut them down to size, and that's 1 3/4 inch square. And I'm going to ink around the edges using crumb cake ink. And using a couple of dimensionals on the back, stick them down on the left and right sides. There we are. So now we're going to I'm just going to pop a 1/4 of an inch circle using a scrap for the little door handles. Now I've stamped this image in Versamark and heat embossed it with white embossing powder. It says from my kitchen to yours, and that is on some copper foil. And I'm just sticking that on so that it overhangs just a little. So now we're going to make our window. For my window, I have already die cut the window shape, and I'm going to trim down at this line all the way across. And I'm also going to trim these side pieces off. I have stamped using a diagonal stamp one way, then turned it 90 degrees and stamped the other way to get this gingham style pattern. And I'm just going to cut out a rectangle. Now that measures 1 5/8 by 2.5 inches. I'll take off the excess. So 2.5 inches. Actually, I'll do this one at 2.5 inches by 1 5/8. There we go. So this is going to be behind our window, but I want to use this ribbon. It's a very vanilla lace trim, and popping some double-sided tape down on the back side here, and just put that, run it from one side to the other. And I'm going to take a length of ribbon that is approximately 5 inches long, and I'm going to ruffle it. So to ruffle the ribbon, just simply stick it down and then fold it back on itself. I'm just going to pop a little bit more tape over the top, just mainly to work as an anchor to lock down that tape. Now to stick our, now to pop our background on, we're going to have to lift this up, otherwise the foam strips won't stick, and place a length of dimensional strips on the top and the bottom. Now you'll notice that it overhangs on the bottom. That won't matter because we're going to cover that up when we're finished with our window. So stick down your patterned piece of your window. Like so, and using a little more dimensional, put that on the bottom, and we're going to place our windowsill on there. Now with the double amount of dimensional, what that's going to do is that's going to lock down our bench. So pop some tape, or you could use glue onto the back. Now I'm going to just center that and you're going to have it roughly in line with the top and push that down. Now once you've die cut your mittens, just pop them together using a dimensional. And I'm going to put a little linen or twine bow at the top, and I'm going to pop these on top of the cupboard on the left. Now with my tools, I cut them out twice. So I've cut them out using the crumb cake cardstock, and I've also cut them out with the silver foil, and just by giving it a little cut, put my little tools together. Just using my little leftover strips from the window, I'm going to create a little ledge for my tools, my kitchen tools to sit on. Okay. So just using an offcut of the suede cardstock. Glue that down, and because I have cut my tools out with the two tones of the cardstock and also cut them with the double-sided tape in place, I just simply peel back the backing and I can pop them on. It means all those delicate objects are really easy to glue in place. I think I might just pop 3 tools on today's one. there you are. So there's today's card. There's a little bit of die cutting, but I absolutely love doing these cards. You can create barbecues, you can create artist desks. There's lots and lots that you can make. A dressing table, vanity. It's up to you and your imagination. I hope you give it a try, and until next time, stay crafty. Bye.